Hi, everyone, and it's so good to be back on the Hidabroot. Hope everybody's doing wonderful. And here we get going with 5 minutes on the Parsha. So let's get started. It says in this week's Parsha that when Moshe and Aaron, it says about them speaking, that they spoke to Paro, the king of Egypt, to let out the Jewish children from Egypt. And the pasuk again points out that it was Moshe and Aaron. And Rashi points out that why are we saying this was Moshe and Aaron? And Rashi tells us to teach us that they were the same Moshe and Aaron from start to finish. Now there's another parsha that has a very similar Rashi that we find by another tzaddik that Rashi makes that comment. And who is that by? That is no other than Yosef Hatzadik. By Yosef Hatzadik, the Rashi tells us that when it said that Yosef was in Egypt, Rashi makes the point that he was the same Yosef from beginning until end. From the time that he was sold till the time that he was viceroy over the entire Egypt. Now, a rabbi by the name of Rav Simcha Zissel poses a question. Let's see. We see a contrast here between Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron. But are they actually the same? Meaning, let's think about Yosef Hatzadik's life. Just think about the idea you're sold by your brothers. You're sold as a slave by your brothers. You overcome one of the hardest challenges of all times, being harassed by a woman countless and countless times to get thrown into a pit again and not give up. Then become king of an entire country that's totally Gentile and still remain the same. Can I compare that to Moshe Rabbeinu, that from the start, the pasuk tells us that he was good. And we know that he spoke to Hashem when he struck down the Egyptian. He used Hashem's name, meaning he was always a leader. And he always was in a position of power. And he always was in a good place. So to make the comparison between Yosef Hatzadik, which fell to the lowest and then to the highest, and Moshe Rabbeinu, that was always the highest, where is there a place for comparisons? And Rav Simcha Zissel points out, and he says, the stream of comparisons, he says, it's so interesting. He says, the point is that we all know the famous line that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's the point. After everything, whatever you want to call a hardship, where is the place where it's hardest for a person to stay strong and not lose himself? Power, position of power tells you who you really are. And this is such a powerful lesson for us. And this is a powerful lesson for us to understand what true leadership is, right? I know in my own life, it's the most interesting thing. I have 2 jobs. It's funny. I'm a rabbi in Or Sameach. I have a yeshiva in Columbus. Now, my yeshiva in Columbus is a beautiful community. It's not the easiest thing to get people to go to Columbus. Everybody wants to work in Or Sameach. So I run the tutoring program in Or Sameach. So I'm constantly getting phone calls. Everybody's calling me. They want to work in Or Sameach. They want to work in Or Sameach. But at the same time, when it comes to Columbus, I have to run after everybody to go to Columbus. So when it comes to people calling me about Or Sameach, I'm like, I have no patience anymore. You really? Okay, call me later. But when it comes to Columbus, I'm running after people. And naturally, you see yourself, whenever you're in a position of power, am I the same person? Do I give the people the same respect? When I have to go around and do recruiting, you can see people in position of power. Do they give you the time? Well, I went to a yeshiva and a certain yeshiva. He gave me such warmth and care and took interest, even though he's so busy. That's leadership. That's leadership. So whatever in our life we get into a position of power, it can be anything. Any job that we start to take on a management position. Do I see myself as greater and better? Do I take a head trip or I say no? I say that I am the same person and Hashem granted me a position, but that doesn't change who I am. And I can treat people with the same respect. That's Jewish leadership. The leader of all of the entire Jewish world, who is the leader, was what the Torah described, Anav Mikol Adam, the most humble man from any person. That's Torah leadership. And when we see it in our great rabbis, that's what we see. That you walk into a room and you see someone who's gentle and warm and kind. Moshe Feinstein, when he was the leader, they say a story, someone called and, he woke up special early. He was busy the entire day giving shiurim and people asking questions and every single type of question came to his desk. They woke up especially early to learn. And there's this one person who kept on calling early in the morning, asking questions that weren't even so important. And he wanted that question on a Gemara, and things that weren't about like life or death or something serious. And finally, in the fourth time, he told him in a gentle way, he said, really, this is my time where I prepare to answer questions later in the day. That was the way he responded, with that gentleness, and only after the fourth time. Someone who's getting phone calls day after day, hour after hour. That's leadership. We should be zeicher, we should merit to have this opportunity to be true leaders, leaders in a way that it's not about me, it's about my mission. But who am I? I'm just like everybody else. And I want to be there for everybody else. It's not about my way to show my superiority over anybody else or to be something better. I'm not going to let power corrupt, and absolute power corrupt absolutely. Have a wonderful Shabbos.